Madhyoli Charanam, Jainandalala. Welcome everybody. Today's topic is beautiful. It's about one of the Nayanmars, Kannappa Nayanar, one of my favorites. His story is, we all can relate to his story. It's a beautiful Bhakti, love. It's where all the Nayanmars have given us this example of how Bhakti is just pure love without any fear. That fearless love towards the ultimate. And that we will see in this beautiful story. And we will all be able to take something with us after this session, because you could relate to this. And I think to every Nayanmar, that is, every Nayanmar has that aspect in them. They're very simple. They're not the ones that are, all of them are not the ones that are all well-versed in Vedas and Shastras. They're all very simple beings. And that is why we can relate to them. So it's Kannappa Nayanar today. And Kannappa Nayanar is from a tribal family. His father is a hunter chief of all the tribes. And his name is Nagan. He's a king. He's a king of the tribal community. And his wife is Tattai. And they both, the whole tribal community, prays to Lord Subramanya. They take Lord Muruga as their deity. So after a lot of prayers, the king and the queen of the tribal community had a boy child and named him Thinnanar. So Thinnanar grew up well versed in all those weaponry. He learned all sorts of weaponry, because that's what hunters do, right? They become masters of all the weaponry, and he became an expert in all the weapons. And he became a very great hunter. Now, who is Thinnanar? Because Thinnanar is very good with bows and arrows. He's very good with his bow and arrows. He can strike at one go. He just needs one attempt and he gets his, whatever the target is. Now that characteristic one person had in Dwapara Yuga, and that was Arjuna. So Thinnanar was none other than Arjuna in Dwapara Yuga. We all know the great warrior Arjuna, right? So this was Thinnanar in Kali Yuga. Now, this is what is written in the Kalahasthi Puranam. You will find this written in that Puranam, that Thinnanar was Arjuna in Dwapara Yuga. Now we'll go back and see. We always go to the roots, right? So we'll go to the roots and see how this all came to be. When Arjuna, he worshipped Shiva to attain the Pashupati Astra. He wanted that Astra. Now, how this whole scene unfolded is what we'll go through this time, because, the Pandavas had to go into war, fight the war against the Kauravas, the evil being destroyed by the good, and Lord Krishna standing by the good to get this achieved in the end, for good to win in the end. He stood by the Pandavas till the end. Now with Lord Shiva's advice, Arjuna went to do penance to attain this astram from Lord Shiva. So Lord Krishna's advice, he went to attain this astram from Lord Shiva. So now Pandavas were in exile and they were burning in revenge This is the scene, right? They were burning in revenge at that time. And Lord Krishna and sage Vedavyasa advised Arjuna that if you have to win the war, you have to get this very, very powerful weapon from Lord Shiva. And you have to perform this very intense penance. You have to go to the Himalayas and perform this intense penance to obtain it from all the lords. You have to go and obtain all these weapons. Now he goes to Himalayas with his bow and arrow, which he already has. This is what he has always. And he walks, and over there he finds a lot of sages, and saints are sitting and doing their meditation. And they're all very, some of them look at him because none of them have weapons in their hands. They're all sadhus. And this man walks with weapons in his hands. So it's a very different scene, right? Arjuna is walking with his weapons, and then he finds a spot, and then one of the sages say, there is no space here for weapons. Are you here to meditate? Why are you having a weapon? So Arjuna just ignores them. And he makes a lingam out of the mud, a mud lingam. He forms a lingam, and then he sits there and meditates. Now, meanwhile, here in the back in the palace, Duryodhana is very tensed. He gets to know that Arjuna is gone. Already Arjuna is a very powerful warrior. He is already powerful. Now, if he's gone to do penance, to attain something more from the gods, then his power is going to be multiplied, which Duryodhana does not want. That is his fear. Somebody is going to get more powerful. Yes, that will be his defeat, correct? Duryodhana's defeat. So he wants to somehow obstruct that, cause some kind of confusion there and obstruct that. So he sends his friend, one Asura. So he sends Asura, Mukasura is his name. Now Mukasura has this power where he can convert himself to anything. It's like creating an illusion, Maya. He can become anybody, anything, anybody. So at any time. So he had that power. So Mukasura went as a wild boar to kill Arjuna and cause obstruction in his penance. While Arjuna was in his deep penance, he heard a snort. The boar makes that noise. He heard that snort, and he was disturbed. He heard it. But Arjuna has such good skills that he doesn't have to look at his target. He knows where that sound, he just knows by direction where it is coming from. He doesn't even have to look at it. So by that sound, by that noise, he knew where it's coming from. He took his bow and his arrow, and he just released his arrow and made the kill. He already knows that he got his target. He opens his eyes, smiling with, you can say ego, you can say proud, and he walks up to his target to see, wow, well done, to himself. Right then, looking at his smile, the other person, there's another person's voice comes through saying, wow, look at him claiming that kill as his own. It was a woman. So he looks up and he sees a tribal man, a tribal woman, and a few tribes around them, men around them. So he looked like that, confused. Who's this? So the woman says, oh, well, that is very convenient. You just claim that to be your kill. Did you see there's another arrow on this side? So Arjuna looks, he bends and looks on the other side. He sees another arrow there. So he's like, okay, but, well, I know I did it. He was very confident. I know I did it. So she says, no, sorry. My husband did it, she says. My husband is the one who killed that wild boar, not you. Do you know who you're talking to? Arjuna says. Do you know I'm the Pandava prince? I'm one of the Pancha Pandavas. Do you know? I'm Arjuna. Now, usually if he says that, people know. People will be, by now, they would have come and fallen at his feet and given their, salutations to him. But here, there was no reaction. None of them had any reaction. None of them gave any, acknowledged it. They said, oh, Pandava, okay. So what do you want me to do? So that kind of reaction he's never had. So he's like, where am I? What's going on? These people don't even know me. It's like a test. That is the ego, right? The ego, I. He wanted them to recognize him, his power, his worth. He wanted them to recognize they didn't. So they still maintained that they made the kill. The man, he made the kill. And he was like, you know what? Let's settle this. You want to fight with me alone? Let's go. Let's do that. And then you'll know who made the kill. So Arjuna was very sure that he's going to win, knowing that he's a great warrior. Obviously, it's obvious he's going to win, right? So he said, come, let's go for a fight and that will decide. That by itself, you will come to know who made this kill. So that man was like, okay. He didn't seem to have any fear or anything. He said, oh, yeah, okay, sure. So be it. So Arjuna has, all his weapons are provided by gods. For instance, his bow and arrow was given to him by Lord Varuna. So that bow and arrow is not an ordinary one. It was created by Lord Brahma, then passed down to a lot of other gods, and then it came to Lord Varuna, and who handed it to Arjuna in the end. So this bow and arrow is such that the arrows will never get over. Like that comes only with 2 arrows. But it gets multiplied. As he uses it, it gets multiplied, never gets exhausted. That is the beauty of that bow and arrow. So now he's got these weapons and his self-confidence. And after all, it's a hunter on the other side. Right? So he's like very confident. He takes his bow and starts. None of the bow, none of the arrows seem to go and even scratch the hunter. Not even one arrow seems to even touch him. There was a lot of fight. There was fight here and there, but all the hunter's arrows scratched or tore the tissues or came and pierced in his hand. All the arrows, every arrow the hunter laid out for him came and shot him. It did do a lot of damage to his hand. But none of his arrows had anything, no effect on the hunter. Now he knew And worst of all, the arrows got exhausted. The whole point of the arrows were, it'll never get exhausted, right? But no, this fight was intense. All the arrows were exhausted, which usually never happens. So when he went back to get an arrow, there was no arrow there. Then he took his sword. He didn't give up. He took his sword and he started fighting. In no time, the hunter broke his sword. The sword was broken. Arjuna did not give up. He put that sword down and he went with his bare hands. He went to fight with his bare hands. He went and he wanted to wrestle him, but the hunter just took him up. He lifted and he threw him like a bag of dust. It was so easy. He just took him up and threw him. And there Arjuna was lying on the floor, on the ground. Defeated, humiliated. What happened? All that, I'm the strong, I'm very strong, I'm more powerful, I'm the best warrior, I'm the best archer. All that went down the drain. He has never seen defeat like that. This was new. When someone always wins, they see defeat. It's an eye-opener to a different world, right? He needed that. He needed it. And there he was, laying there, helpless. And he saw this hunter having this smile, a jeering smile, a mocking smile. And he just closed his eyes. What did he come there for? He came there to meditate upon Lord Shiva. So he closed his eyes and in his mind, he made a lingam out of mud. And he offered the lingam a beautiful white garland, a flower garland. He offered the lingam. In his mind, he offered the lingam a white, beautiful garland of flowers. And he said, where are you? Where are you? I came to seek your blessings. I came to meditate upon you. And why are you sending these people and humiliating me? Where are you? I need you now. I need you now. Now that is what the point. Everybody comes to this point where they are tested. They may be good at everything. They may be good at whatever they're doing. They may be the best at it. But there will be a point where the Lord will make us understand that we are not the best. We are not the ones who are doing it. And that is what happened with Arjuna. He had to understand that he's not the one who's doing it. And he's not the best. That humble humility had to come. And this was that time. And he was there. All this while he thought, I. And then what happened? There he was on the floor and he said, Lord, where are you? Where are you? I need you. See, we're all tested there, till we call out to him. Surrendered. Surrender. That's what happened. Slowly Arjuna opened his eyes. He had put the garland in the lingam, correct? Now when he opened his eyes, he saw this tribal man who was fighting with him, standing there, watching him, smiling, wearing the same garland. Wearing the same garland that he offered in his mind to the lingam. He saw this man wearing it. He had tears rolling down his eyes, and he knew immediately, the same instant, he knew that that was none other than the Lord himself. The Lord himself who came to teach him a lesson. Slowly he got up and fell at his feet, asking him for forgiveness. Forgive me. I did not know I was fighting with you all this while. He said, weeping all the time. I did not know. I was unaware. And he apologized to the Lord. The Lord just pulled him and embraced him. That is our Lord Shiva, right? Lord Shiva's tests are not very easy. But he's the most kindest. The most kindest of all. He embraced Arjuna. What do you want? Tell me. You meditated upon me. I'm here. Now you ask me, what do you want? He says. Arjuna says, I have to win this war. I have a big responsibility. I'm here for the Pashupatastra. The Lord smiles and he says, sure, I will give it to you. And Arjuna says, I don't know how to use it. So if you will teach me how to use it, that'll be great too. So the Lord says, it'll be my pleasure. You're the best warrior. And I'm very happy to hand over my astra to you. Yes, I will teach you, he says, and the Lord teaches him how to use the astra. And that was a beautiful scene that Lord Brahma and all the gods were watching this while it was happening. The Lord teaching how to use his own astra to Arjuna. So as usually what happens is when the Lord asks, what do you want? The Lord himself is right there in front of you. You forget what to ask, right? A person who has realized will say, this is all I want. You. But Arjuna was so focused in his whatever he had to do, right? He had to win the war. He had so much of responsibilities. And he didn't forget. He had only that in his mind. That's what Lord Shiva says to him, you know. You've attained me in this yugam, you attained me. But you asked me for astram. You did not ask to attain me, he says. Right? He chose to ask for the astram when the Lord himself came in front of him. He chose to ask for the astram. He didn't ask for him. I want you. Instead, he said, I want the Pashupata-astram. So the Lord says, next janma, next life, you will be my devotee and you will attain me. You will ask for me. Next life, you will be a hunter and you will attain me with full devotion and love and bhakti, he said. So Arjuna seeks his blessings, and that is how that ends. And now we know how Nayanar happened, right? Nayanar had the same qualities as Arjuna, the best archer. Nayanar used to be very good at his archery skills. Whatever he targeted, he used to get it. Whether it's moving or still, he used to get that target. And he had his own principles. He was crowned king, of course, after his father. He was crowned king of that tribal community. And Nayanar had a principle. He would not kill young animals, young ones. He would not kill them. He would not kill females, that is, female animals. He would not kill the diseased animals. He would not, all those things. He had these kind of principles that he laid for himself, though he was a hunter. Now, spiritually, he had killed all the animals in him. What is that? Anger, lust, right? These are the animals inside us already. Anger, lust, greed, jealousy. All this he had killed. He's a nice person. So this is who he was. One day, while Nayanar had gone to hunt, he always used to go with his assistants. So he saw this pig and he killed it, and they brought it, tied up in that stick, and they wanted to cook it. So they sat under the hill. And then suddenly Nayanar looked up on the hill and he saw, he felt like he wanted to climb the hill. And he asked his assistant, I want to go up the hill. So the assistant says, yes, there is a lingam, there is a Lord there. There's a temple there. So Nayanar says, I want to go, he says. So the assistant says, yes, I will come with you. Let this other person cook the meat. I will come with you. So both of them go. As he was climbing the hill, he realized that a big burden was being lifted off of it. Every step he took up the hill, he felt like he's leaving something behind. He felt lighter and lighter and lighter as he went up the hill. And he felt like all the burdens are gone and he felt so free. And he loved that feeling. And then soon he saw this beautiful lingam. He saw the Lord. All of a sudden, the supreme love, this from somewhere developed. When he saw the Lord, he went and embraced this lingam. He went and just embraced the lingam. And he started weeping and crying. He was like, where were you all this while? Where were you? I was looking for you everywhere. Where were you? And the assistant was standing there and wondered, what happened to my king? He was okay now. What happened to him? Poor king, what happened? But Nayanar was in a different zone. It was like his loneliness was gone. He had found his love. That is what they say, that pure bhakti is like, it's like love. It's the most purest kind of love which nobody has experienced ever. When we say, I love you to somebody, it is not even close to that. We have not experienced that love. That love that we have for the God which comes without our knowledge will bring tears. It's ecstasy. It's bliss. that is what Nayanar was experiencing. And his assistant he's actually concerned what happened to his king. Now he wiped his tears and he said, I need to do something for him. Nayanar didn't know what to do. I need to do something. I feel he's very lonely here, he says. The Lord is up the hill all alone. Nayanar is like, I feel he's very lonely here, all alone. I need to give him company. I have to guard him. I can't go anywhere now. So he asks his assistant, what do I do? What do I do to make him feel comfortable? So the assistant says, I have heard that the priest comes here and does abhishekam to the Lord from the river. They take the water and do abhishekam, and then they do archana with the flowers, and then they offer him food. So Nayanar says, let's do it. And he goes down and he doesn't have anything with him. He's a hunter. What does he have? He has no balls and everything. So he's like, abhishekam, okay. And he takes the water and puts it in his mouth. He takes as much as water he can in his mouth. He takes as much as water, collects it in his mouth. And the flowers, he takes whatever flowers he got hold of, he takes it in his hand. Now he needs his hands to take the food, right? So what does he do? The flowers, puts it on his head. He sets it on his head. And then he looks for food. He has the pork that has been cooking. The pig is cooking, right? So he takes the pork pieces and he says, I need good pieces. So he takes the pork and he tastes it. He tastes all of them. This is not good. Take it. This is very good. This is very good. And he keeps all the good pieces after biting and tasting them. He keeps it there in a leaf. And then he sets up the hill. He starts walking up the hill. Over there, he has the water in his mouth, right? He goes and he puts this water on the lingam. He pours the water out of the mouth onto the lingam. Abhishekam for the Lord. This is like going against all the rules that you all have followed, right? Up until now, muddy, acharam, everything is deleted. Everything is gone for a toss. HL, right? It's right from the mouth. What more do you want? So, well, that is what he did. And from the hair, you should never, they say you should never put anything in the hair. If you touch the hair, you have to wash your hands and then do puja, right? His flowers, he had set it on his head. He takes it and puts it on Lord Shiva. And then he serves. Let's come to the next part. He serves the meat to the Lord. So much love, so much devotion. He has no clue. He didn't know. Innocent. With love, he did all this. And then he sat there guarding the Lord without a wink of sleep, no sleep. And then when it was after sunrise, he set out to hunt again. He said, I'm going to come back. You stay safe. I will come in the evening again. He tells the Lord and he goes for his next day of hunting. He sets out to hunt. After sunrise, the priest who comes and takes care of this temple every day comes in. It's like horrifying for him. This whole scene, he looks at the scene. What has happened here? There's meat scattered on the floor and it looks like a hurricane hit this place. So he comes and he does purification. He takes the Swarnamukhi, the river Swarnamukhi, he takes the water from there and he comes and purifies the whole place. And he takes the meat and he goes and takes a bath and then he comes and Madiya, he comes and he does puja again. poor priest has a, terrifying experience. And then he purifies and he puts the flowers just like he does every day, and he leaves. Next day also, he sees the same scene. Next day also, Tinnanar comes and does the same thing, right? The same night. So next day morning, the priest sees the same scene and he's like, what is going on? Lord, you need to stop this, he says. He prays to the Lord. He says, you have to stop this. What is going on? I'm not able to take it. Every day, the poor priest has to go down, take a bath and come and purify the place. It takes a toll on him. So he's like praying to the Lord, please stop this. Whoever's doing this is not good. I mean, I don't have the energy. Stop it. What is happening here? How are you allowing this? He says. So now Tinnanar is in a state of, it's like obsession, So his assistants are worried about him. So they go and tell his parents, the old parents, the old king and queen. They go and tell them, and the king and queen rush to the place and they say, Tinnanar, you need to come home. You need to come home. We need to get you married soon. This is all a problem, all these problems come when you're single and all that. We'll just get you married. Come, let's go. So Tinnanar says, no, I'm not coming. This is the Lord I've been waiting for. This is what I've been waiting for. This happiness I don't get anywhere. I have to serve him. Who'll take care of him? He's alone here, up the hill, He's alone. I cannot leave him and come. No way. I'm not coming, he says. So his parents are like, okay, they have lost our son. Let's just go. He's not going to come. But they could see that he's very happy. They could see happiness in his face. They could see a lot of calm in his face. It's like he was very content. That they could see. There was no confusion. He knew what he wanted to do. He had set up a plan and he was just going by the schedule. He knew exactly what he was doing. Now, the 6th day, this was happening, for 5 days. The 6th day, Tinnanar, same way, he set out to hunt that morning. Something he felt not right that day. We all have that feeling, right? We feel something is not right today. But he was very sure something was going to go wrong. And usually what we think is something is going to go wrong with something we're going to do or with us, right? But no, Tinnanar was not concerned about him because he had left that self. He had gotten over that I, that self. He couldn't even feel his own body by that time. So he thought something was going to happen to the Lord. So he rushed back. Even before sunset, he was there beside the Lord. He wanted to make sure the Lord is okay. So there he was. And then he saw this lingam. He carefully was observing and he saw that the right eye of the lingam, the Lord, was bleeding. There was blood oozing out of his right eye of the Lord. He felt devastated. He tried to put all the herbs. He went and ran and fetched all the herbs that he could find and ground it and made a paste of it and smeared it on his eyes. But nothing worked. It's still bleeding. Then what did he do? He took his arrow and he plucked his own eye out. This is a true story. This has happened. He plucked his own right eye out and he put it on the lingam. And yes, the bleeding stopped. He was so happy. Now this man, he didn't even know pain. He couldn't feel pain. Like I said, he just left that self out, right? He didn't even give importance to his own body. It was all about Lord Shiva. After he attached the eye and the bleeding stopped, he started jumping in joy, dancing in joy. He didn't even feel the pain. He was very happy that the Lord's bleeding was stopped. Now when he was dancing with a lot of happiness and everything, he realized the left eye started bleeding. The Lord's left eye started bleeding now. Now he knew what to do. But the only thing is, if he extracted his left eye, he won't be able to see where to place that eye, correct? So what did he do? He sat down and he put his foot in the Lord's left eye, that area. He put his foot so that he knows where to place the eye correctly. He put his foot there again, all against the Shastras. Does anyone lay their foot on the Lord? No. But yes, this is deep bhakti. He put his foot on the Lord's left eye, the space, and he took his arrow to extract his left eye. When he was going to do that, the Lord holds his hand. The Lord comes and holds his hand, saying, "No, you don't have to do that, Kannappa," he says. "Kannappa, don't stop. You don't have to do that, my dear child," he says. That is where he got the name Kannappa, because the Lord called him that. The one who gave him the eyes. The one who did not even think twice to give him the eyes. Right? So the Lord embraced him and made him sit on his lap on the right side. So that's when Tinnanar became Kannappa Nayanaar. He also got the position of the Nayanmar after this. And he became one with the Lord. Immediate moksham. See, this is the fastest. In 6 days, Kannappa Nayanaar from the day 1 to day 6. 6th day, he attained moksha. He attained the Lord's feet. And he lived as God himself. There's a separate Sannidhi of Kannappa Nayanaar. And he has attained the Lord himself. Now, meanwhile, the priest, let's go back to the priest. Now, the priest complained to the Lord, correct? Saying, please stop this and everything. So the Lord goes in the priest's dream. And he tells him, I understand your problem, but before you complain, you need to hide. Today you hide and you see what's going on. You see what's happening. And then you'll get all the answers, he says. So the priest hides over there behind the rock and he looks at everything. So the whole scene, this Kannappa pulling out his eyes and placing it in the lingam, everything he saw. And he was appalled. It was too much for him. He has not seen anything like this. A bhakti like this? No. That's when he realized what bhakti is. what true love is and what the God actually wants. The innocent bhakti, where Kannappa did not know what he was doing, but he wanted to give what he had. He had. What did he have? He hunts. He gets the meat. That's what he had. He offered that. Whatever he could, he offered. It's not easy to fill up your mouth with water and walk all the way with that water to come and do Abhishek. She did. He didn't have anything to take the water in. He used his body for everything. So he did everything out of pure love and bhakti. And the Lord receives anything given to him with pure love and bhakti. He receives it. And that is why I said this story will open doors to so many things for all of us, to show us the Lord's other side. In a way, this is like, this hits the peak, right? This is like, oh my God, can somebody even do that? And the Lord has accepted it. So anything, rules are important. Shastrams are important. But if somebody does not know the rules or does not know the shastrams and they are doing it with bhakti, it's okay. So the innocent who have not learned it can also seek the Lord's blessings. Isn't that what this tells us? Everybody has a space at his feet. Everybody is given. Nobody is denied. So that is the beauty of the story. Now the lingam. Where is this lingam? This is the Kalahasthi, one of the Panchabhuta Sthalams. And it's in Andhra Pradesh. And it is also called the Kailasham of the South. This is how it's referred to in the Tamil books, the very old books the poets have written. They refer this place as Kailasham of the South because there is a small hill near the temple and they refer that as Himalayas. And this hill also serves as the wall of the temple. Now, the architecture, when it comes to architecture, the Cholas, the Pandyas, and the Vijayanagara rulers have all done their part. And the temple was built in the 15th century. And Krishna Devaraya has built a very big gopuram for this temple. And it's a very huge gopuram. And there's an underground Ganapati here, shrine. And it's called the Padala Ganapati. And you have to walk down several steps, steep steps to go to this Ganesha in this temple. And it's a very, very, very unique temple. And this Ganesha, you'll never forget. This is one thing I've never forgotten. I have gone to this temple when I was probably in the 8th grade or 9th grade. And I remember because of this Ganesha. I remember this temple clearly because of the Ganesha, because we had to walk down the steep steps to go to him. Now, this temple is built on the banks of the river Swarnamukhi. Now, the river Swarnamukhi is equivalent to River Ganga because the hill is like Himalaya, so the river is like Ganga. That's how they say about this temple. Now, north of the temple is the Durgambigai Hills, and south is the Kannapar Hill, and east is the Kumaraswamy Hill. So this is how the temple is placed. Now, the temple is called Sri Kalahasthi. What does it mean? Shri means spider, Kala means snake, Hasti means elephant. Now, all these three Sri, that is spider, snake, and elephant, have come here and worshipped the Lord. They had a curse, they got a curse, and they got mukti over here in this place. The spider, how did it worship? Spider spread its web, very similar to our Tiruvanekkaval's story, where the spider spread its web and, protected the lingam from dried leaves falling on it, stuff like that. This spider also did the same similar thing. Also, he used to do structures with his web. He created beautiful structures with his web. He was very creative, the spider. With his devotion, he weaved a lot of beautiful structures for the Lord. Now, one day, a very strong breeze came and, obstructed and destroyed his web. And in that breeze, this web got caught in fire, and the whole structure, whatever he created out of the web, got fire and it was burning out. The spider wanted to protect his creation for the Lord, and he went and he wanted to gulp the flames. And when he gulped the flames, he got mukti immediately. The Lord came and saved him and embraced him and took him. So that is the moksham he got by his sincere devotion to the Lord. Now the elephant, what did the elephant do? The elephant offered leaves and water and flowers to the Lord. And the serpent, there's a serpent also, right? The snake, he offered precious gems to the Lord. Now the elephant came and sprayed water on the lingam, and the serpent had laid all the beautiful gems on top of the lingam, which the elephant will come and destroy by spraying water on it. So the serpent got very annoyed. He saw it once and twice, and the third time he was like, this is it. Every time this elephant comes and sprays his water and, scatters my gems all over the place, he gets angry and he goes and bites the elephant in his trunk. He's sitting there waiting for the elephant. When the elephant comes, he bites him. And the elephant, taking the bite, he couldn't. So he starts hitting the snake in pain. Because he's in pain, he starts waving his trunk here and there, and he hits the snake. And the Lord saw that both these devotees, out of devotion for him, out of love for him, are fighting amongst themselves. So he goes and saves both of them, says, stop fighting, I'm here. So he ends the dispute and takes them in. So this is how they both get moksha too. So because this is the place that the spider, the snake, and the elephant got moksha, it's called Sri Kalahasthi. Now this is one of the, and now you can see their images. At the foot of the lingam, you will see a spider's image and the elephant tusks. You see the tusks and then a five-hooded serpent. This is what you see in the foot of the lingam over there in Kalahasthi. Now, like I said, this is one of the Panchabhuta Sthalams. Now here, what is the element? 5 elements, right? This element is air. Air is the element here. It's the Vayu Lingam is called. The lingam is called the Vayu Lingam. And Adi Shankara has visited this temple and offered his prayers here too. Now, the lingam is called, the Lord is called Kalahastishwara. And the Ambal, the goddess is called Jnana Prasunnambigai. And the flame in the sanctum, if you ever go to this temple, you will see this flame in the sanctum always flickering a little bit. And though there is no window or any way the wind can come in, the flame keeps flickering as if there is a swaying of wind or some way or the other, the wind is coming and, making that happen. No, there is no way there is any wind or there's no window or passage through which a wind can come in, but still the flame goes like that. So you will see that when you go to the temple, if you ask the priest, they will show it to you. They will be like, yeah, look at the flame. It keeps flickering. You can see that. But no temple, the flame actually flickers because it's inside the sanctum, right? There is no room for any wind to get in. It's very quiet flame, usually, correct? But in this place, you will see it flickering. And the lingam here faces west, and it symbolizes liberation. And now Abhishekam is usually done to the Utsava Murti here. They do not do Abhishekam to the main Murti. Now the temple again, here it's a very special temple for Rahu Ketu problems. A lot of people have these, when they see horoscope, they see Rahu Ketu issues with their horoscope. They come here to do the pariharam, and they do special pujas here. And they say, right, the planetary positions and stuff like that. And Sarpadosha Puja, all that is done here in this place. It's very, very auspicious to do all that here. Now the Sthala Vriksham is Bilvam here. And it's a beautiful temple. It's a very old temple, close to 2000 years old. And Swayambhu Lingam. And again, almost all the lingams that we have talked about is Swayambhu, right? Especially when it is comes to Nayanmars. All the temples related to Nayanmar stories are all Swayambhu Lingams. They've come on their own. So this is another one like that. So was a beautiful session with the beautiful Lord and the bhakti, the devotion, the pure bhakti, the pure devotion. He'll never say no to it. No rules when it comes to devotion. I've always told you that repeatedly. There is no rules. Do you have bhakti? When you go sit and do puja to the Lord, are you doing with full bhakti, full involvement, a pure heart, without any negatives? That is important. Because anything done is with bhakti, correct? Anybody who does whatever they want is doing it with bhakti. So we cannot go and say, oh, that is wrong. Don't do it that way. No, nothing is wrong. Nothing can be wrong. In his books, only if you do it to harm somebody else, it's wrong. This is towards him. If you're doing it with bhakti, fine, take it. So this story, I guess, kind of sums it all up, saying, do it your way with full bhakti. That is the main thing. Yes, shastrams can be learned. The right ways can be learned. Yes, Ambal is the whole form of, she's the queen of all the agamas. She knows everything. She knows all shastram. She knows everything. She's everything. So if you do it with all that and bhakti, she will take it with wholeheartedly. We have to be accepting everybody's bhakti with pure-heartedness, because it is towards God, not for us. It is for him to decide if he wants it or not. And he takes everything. This story actually proves that he takes everything, doesn't it? Very clearly. It's like there. So, and that is where I want to thank you. Jai Nandalala Madhyali Charanam.